This is Mac OS Ken.
Expectations for Apple earnings, a clickbait piece from an unlikely source, and a rumored end to Apple Vision Pro development. It is Thursday, the 30th of April, 2026. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Copilot Money. Your money beautifully organized. Get 2 months free with code MacOSCan at copilot.money/MacOSCan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. I'm not sure where he got what he got, but Apple 3.0's Philip Elmer DeWitt has put together expectations from both professional analysts and independent analysts ahead of today's second quarter fiscal year 2026 earnings report from Apple. They're not as far apart as they used to be. Indies are looking for revenue of $111.57 billion on earnings per share of $2.07. The pros don't go quite that high. They're looking for revenue of $110.11 billion on earnings per share of $1.97. It's safe to say, though, that both groups are pretty stoked. All signs point to a record March quarter, according to the site, with double-digit growth on the top and bottom lines. We talked about similar expectations earlier this week, though the ones we heard then were lower. Not sure whether pro expectations have gone up or whether different outlets follow different sets of pros. While Apple 3.0's pros are looking for revenue of $110.11 billion, analysts followed by Yahoo Finance are looking for revenue of $109.69 billion, while those followed by TipRanks expect revenue of $109.45 billion. Apple 3.0's pros are also 2 pennies more bullish on EPS. They're looking for earnings per share of $1.97 to Yahoo and TipRanks $1.95. And now, pencils down. Apple will release numbers through its investor site after close of trading today, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. Then at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, they'll go to the phones. Apple CFO Kevin Parekh will definitely be on the line. Apple CEO Tim Cook will probably be. They'll repeat the reported numbers, drop a bit of color, and take questions from the likes of the magnificent Mr. Mohan, AdRock, Chatman, and others. You can hear the call as it happens on Apple's site. You can catch it as a podcast later in the day. And I'll do that recap thing I do right here on Friday. You know who's got challenges ahead? The guy replacing Tim Cook as Apple CEO. The thing is, he'll have Tim Cook's ear to bend if he needs it, and besides, the challenges with which a piece from the Financial Times is concerning itself are already being faced by Apple. Rising memory costs and Donald Trump's pressure to invest in U.S. manufacturing will force tough early calls for Apple's next chief executive, John Ternus, according to the piece. So basically the same challenges that are facing every tech company on the planet. According to the piece, supply chain experts, industry executives, and analysts said John Ternus would have to decide how far and how quickly to shift iPhone production beyond China, manage growing pressure from Washington to invest in U.S. manufacturing, and respond to surging memory costs that threaten to squeeze margins or push up prices. The piece is a litany of concerns for Apple. Among them, staying on the good side of both Washington and Beijing, the hundreds of billions of dollars Apple CEO Cook has already pledged towards U.S. manufacturing, the ongoing memory crisis, the anticipated staggering of the iPhone 18 release cycle, and whether to raise prices on iPhone or eat into margins in an attempt to gain market share. Now, I have this weird way of writing this show. I glean the premise of a story, write out my thoughts, then I read the story in depth. At that point, I either tweak my original thinking or find points to support my argument. So when I wrote the part about Ternus having Tim Cook's ear to bend in the days ahead, I had not read comments in the Financial Times piece from B of A analyst Wamsi Mohan. After this whole list of known hazards, peppered with breathless, what will Ternus do isms, the Financial Times sums its post saying, with outgoing Chief Cook poised to become the first executive chair of Apple's board in September, taking a direct role in the company's day-to-day operations, he is expected to continue to influence the supply chain he spent decades building. It's actually two people leading the charge in some ways, Mohan said. It's a departure from the way that things have been managed in the past. I seriously respect and enjoy the Financial Times, but that article felt like clickbait fear-mongering, like writing the current temperature in a scary font. Anyway, John Ternus has challenges ahead. Who among us doesn't? What'll it take to get satellite services for smartphones over the hump? An analyst with Counterpoint Research says folks are still looking for the killer satellite feature. Sorry, the killer feature for smartphone satellite use. Like we need every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a killer satellite feature. Market tracker Counterpoint posted a post on the subject on Wednesday. Though there were satellite-enabled phones before Apple introduced such connectivity in iPhone 14, Apple's adoption sent such service into orbit. With Amazon buying Apple satellite partner Globalstar, Counterpoint says the acquisition provides immediate scale and opens up a new revenue stream for Amazon around connectivity as a service. So now they just need stuff for people to do with it. While the satellite smartphone market is mostly driven by the premium segment, according to the report, a lack of killer use cases is limiting mass adoption. The piece indicates that the market is a couple of development cycles away from satellite services being affordable for mid-tier devices, and from them being varied enough in their offerings for people to want to pay for them. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Copilot Money. Your money, beautifully organized. You may have your system for tracking your money, but are you sure there's stuff you're not missing? Sure you're keeping an eye on everything? Here's my suggestion. Try Copilot Money for 2 months for free. Copilot Money tracks your spending, tracks your subscriptions, and tracks your savings all in one place. Well, on the web and across a beautiful suite of apps for iPhone, iPad, and the Mac, all with seamless syncing. If it doesn't keep you on track with bills and savings, if it doesn't alert you to subscription payments you might be missing, if you don't 100% dig having your financial life at your fingertips no matter what device you're using, canceling is easy. You got nothing to lose and so much to gain by trying Copilot Money. Right now you can get 2 months free with code MacOSKen at copilot.money/MacOSKen. Featured by Apple as an app we love and a must-have finance app, you can try it free for 2 months with offer code MacOSKen at copilot.money/MacOSKen. Copilot Money. Your money beautifully organized. Try 2 months free with offer code MacOSKen at copilot.money/MacOSKen. I have no doubt MacRumors heard what MacRumors says it heard. I just hope the source from whom they heard it was wrong. The site hit midday Wednesday with the headline, Apple has given up on the Vision Pro after M5 refresh flop. Okay, I got a problem with that headline, actually. A company with as many smart people as Apple can't have thought headset sales were being held back by the processor. Similarly, they can't have thought a beefier processor would send the thing flying off the shelves. Whatever the case, Apple has all but given up on the Vision Pro after the M5 model failed to revitalize interest in the device, MacRumors says. MacRumors has learned. The Vision Pro has been unpopular since it first launched, says the report, which... whatever. We've known each other long enough, you and me, to know my feelings on Vision Pro's popularity. It's too expensive to be popular. It's too expensive for people to know whether they would like it or what they would do with it. And yet you get universities adopting it, and surgeons adopting it, and the occasional entertainment adoption, including a new one we'll talk about in a bit. The piece goes on to say that Apple has apparently stopped work on the Vision Pro, and the Vision Pro team has been redistributed to other teams within Apple. If Apple finds a way to create a much cheaper, more comfortable VR headset in the future, the piece says, the Vision Pro line could be revived, but right now, the company has no plans to launch a new model. I have no doubt they heard what they say they heard. I just hope what they heard was wrong. To be clear, MacRumors points out that Apple hasn't discontinued the headset. It's just reportedly not currently working on a new one. There's still an app store, and there's still stuff trickling into it. Apple Must posted a piece Wednesday about Blue Frog Immersive. They've got an app featuring intimate musical performances for Apple Vision Pro. According to the piece, the app places viewers inside a small, acoustically tuned studio with performances happening right in front of them. Performances were recorded at Blue Frog Studios using dual 8K stereoscopic capture, spatial audio, and a head-track Dolby Atmos mix to recreate the feeling of being in the room. Blue Frog founder Kelly Breaks is quoted in the piece, saying the real feel and energy of musicians deep in their groove is what we want to convey, and immersive technology and the Apple Vision Pro get us there. The app launches with 6 performances. Artists featured include Sugar Ray Rayford, The Wild Blue Herons, Miss Emily, and others. Blue Frog Immersive is available now in the App Store for Apple Vision Pro. Hey, can we circle back on Apple Vision Pro for just a moment? Maybe Apple could or should lower its standards on the headset thing. Here's what I'm saying. You wouldn't say a MacBook Pro and a MacBook Neo are the same device. For some, the Neo is plenty, while for others, only the power of a Pro will do. Maybe you sell Apple Vision Pro as a full-fledged Mac that also does the immersive thing, or maybe you go ahead and tone down some of what the headset does. Replace the screen with the eyes on the front with indicator lights, for example. That would knock down a lot of the cost and knock down a lot of the creepy factor as well. Introducing Apple Vision Neo from the people who should have brought you Apple Vision Air. I want something like an affordable Apple headset, okay? Well. And finally today, news of another returning comedy for Apple TV. The Cupertino streamer issued a press release Wednesday teasing Season 5 of Trying. First, the lead couple, played by Esther Smith and Rafe Spall, were trying to have a baby. Then they were trying to adopt. Then they were trying to be good parents. Now, according to the release, Season 5 finds them trying to deal with the consequences of the biological mother of their adopted children turning up at their doorstep and the whirlwind of chaos she brings into their settled family life. Sitting pretty with a score of 96 on Rotten Tomatoes, The first 4 seasons of Trying are available to stream now on Apple TV. Season 5 starts its run on Wednesday, the 8th of July. Hey, before we go, I got so many emails about sticking up my MacBook Air. Some of you go at it with abandon. Some of you find the idea disgusting. And some of you take a lot of care with the whole thing. Putting a cover on your Mac so you can stick stickers on that. Some to keep the machine's resale value. Others so they can peel them off as one giant sticker. And keep the whole lot after the Mac itself is no more. It was fun hearing how you do what you do. That's my first one, by the way, in today's album art. And so it begins. macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and sponsored by Copilot Money. Get 2 months free with code macOS Ken at copilot.money/macOS Ken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOS Ken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOS Ken at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
I'm invisible!